DraftSociety.com presents a Premier League Draft Fantasy Podcast. Welcome to the Key Pass Collective. Your exclusive source for the information, analysis, and advice you need to dominate your fantasy leagues. Come on in. We've been expecting you.
Draft heads, what is happening? Welcome back to the Key Pass Collective. My name is Joe Williams. I will be your host for this particular episode. Reminder, Key Pass Collective is the audio companion to the Draft Society website. It's got your rankings, your stats, your articles, just literally everything you need to dominate the draft game. Let's finish strong. Let the Draft Society help you do just that. If you are willing, we've got some insider benefits as well. Player projections, rest of season rankings, unique fixture difficulty tracker just for this game that we play, set piece taker tracker, ghost point tracker, and accompanying article from Ryan. There's a whole bunch there, and you're supporting an independent fantasy football website. We would really appreciate it. And shout out to all of these subscribers that already do. We appreciate you so very much. Regardless, there's a ton of free stuff on there, weekly articles. Check out the Draft Society. We're here to help you, hopefully, take home that title. All right. It's going to welcome in a couple of our best friends, draft fantasy football analysts, masterminds, Totti and Ryan, the usual voices. You're used to hearing them. It's like a warm blanket. Totti, how are things in your neck of the woods?
Pretty good. I can't complain. I have... After shouting out myself as having taken top spot in my home league 2 weeks ago,
humble brag.
Yeah, I promptly went on to lose my next game and give back the top spot to the guy who has been holding it for the whole season. So, well, there you have it.
Ryan, I don't know if I want to bring up the title chase with you. But so maybe instead I'll just ask you if you're enjoying the sunshine. You're 1.5 states away from me, and I assume that you're also having just beautiful weather.
Yes, we are having beautiful weather. Outside of that, I threw my back out. I basically lost my matchup. Well, not basically. I absolutely lost my matchup because of the Matoma robbery. It exactly equated out to a 23-point swing, and I lost by 22.
No way.
Yeah. So, now I'm basically out of the title race, unless 3 games back, unless something miraculous happens. But, I've just been kind of pondering it all over the last few days. What does it all mean? That's
fair. I mean, to be fair, that game was absolutely shambolic. We've already been called out for our Spurs hate to a certain extent, so we won't go too far into it. But my God,
I'm glad I didn't watch it live. I would have been fuming.
Yeah.
So I just saw the 1.5 from Matoma. Didn't think anything of it, and then watched the highlights and saw the uproar, and I was like, "Oh my dear God."
Hey, it's all good. My dad is a Spurs fan, and he's going to be visiting me tomorrow. He'll be here for the game this weekend. And I will be wholeheartedly cheering for Spurs because my old man likes them.
Son.
And
son.
And I just want him to be happy. So there we go.
Decent fixture for him to come for.
Yeah, it should be solid. All right, today on the show, we've got league winners. So players that we are touting that you should try as best you can to get them in. League winners, players who could potentially win you your league. Going forward, rest of season, we're going to look at their value, talk about why we believe that they are going to make a strong case for why they should be, very high in the rest of season rankings. All right, then we've got some listener questions that we sort of just last second posted. Hey, anybody got any questions for us? I think we'll have some extra time on the show this week, and got like almost 20 responses, which is solid. Good on you, draft community. So we'll try to get to as many of those as we possibly can. We'll end it with just a few quick shout outs for some streamers, and then we'll close her down. So, let's get right into it, guys. Game week 31. We start with Villa, Newcastle. We end on Monday. Good reminder, with Leeds and Liverpool. So, league winners. We're going to give you some players that we're predicting will absolutely go off in the remaining weeks. Going to try to provide some players at various roster percentages too. So we're sort of going to hit on some players who are highly rostered, some who are sort of in the mid-range, and then some who might actually be some hidden gems you could potentially just pick up off of waivers, or maybe they're even floating out in your free agencies. So yeah, we'll try to keep it, at all levels. Hopefully, if your trade window is already closed, or if you just know there's no possibility of trading in any of these guys, then maybe you can focus on some of the mid-tier or the hidden gem guys. But we'll go through all three. So let's start with the highly rostered guys. We've got one from each, well, almost from each position on the field. We cheated on a couple of them and brought in some keepers instead of defenders. But
you were
I
the
did
only
both.
one.
Yes, okay. So I
did
said
all.
we. It's the royal we. Okay, you don't have to throw me under the bus.
The editorial, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. All right, fine. This is how it's going to go, huh, Totti? I'm so divisive, am I?
Welcome back, man.
Oh man, that was fun. It was.
How
fun.
was Puerto Rico, by the way? Not to.
It was great.
derail us.
It was fantastic. The beaches are miraculous. It's awesome. I had such a blast. I had a great time, and my mother and her partner, her boyfriend, they sleep in until ludicrous hours, like 9, and they're not ready to go anywhere until like 11. So I had plenty of time in the mornings, and one morning I just had some coffee and listened to you guys, drone on about fantasy football, and it was great. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Anyway, okay. So let's talk highly rostered players. So these are players that are definitely not going to be available in your league. You could potentially trade for them if you don't have a trade deadline, or if you already roster them, good on you. Don't let them go. Guys, you want to start with defenders / goalkeepers, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I can start on this one. I don't know if I read this right. I don't know if my mid rostered players technically qualify, but I kind of took it as mid-tiered as opposed to roster.
I got you. So not your elite players.
Yeah.
That's fine. That works.
Yeah. I don't think you won't be able to find any of my mid rostered players on the wire.
Okay.
I don't think you'll be able to find any of the other ones either. But
no. But I was just looking for guys who were in that 80 down to 55 ish range, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. Highly rostered players. You got to like Pope. At goalkeeper. I'm a big Lino guy, but Pope has been doing the business. They have
killed me last week.
a fair amount of fixtures. They're going for fourth, so they have something to play for. It seems to be that they've regained their defensive solidity a bit. So you got to like him between the sticks moving forward. Defenders, this was a tricky one because, I could take the low-hanging fruit like Totti, but
ouch.
I went with Trent, who I kind of
definitely not
bus
low-hanging
last
fruit
week.
there.
Well, this season he's mid. He should be in the mid tier, but given the extra games, favorable schedule, I think, he still has pretty bad overall numbers. So I think you can make a case to get him in on a somewhat of a buy low. And yeah, if he finds his magic, I mean, he with the extra games and the fixtures and the forwards all fit, that would be a big one. You can actually feed some of these guys. Then yeah, I think he'll do the business. Having said that, Liverpool is a complete backslip case, and you never know what you're going to get. So this is more of a potential high upside play as opposed to a guarantee. So those are mine too.
I'm curious to see if he continues. I don't think he will. I think it was probably a tactical decision against Arsenal, but he was playing more inverted in that second half, and it was just causing havoc. It was fantastic. Kind of like a Zinchenko thing, like sort of what he does, playing through the middle a little bit. And man,
I've always thought he could be a kind of defensive mid or more of an inverted
for sure
fullback or a wing back, so that he doesn't have to track back as much defensively, but
so that he doesn't have to defend.
Yeah, basically. I mean, taking exploiting his strengths and getting rid of his weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly.
Exposing them.
Yeah. All right, Totti, defenders, highly rostered, league winners. Who you got?
I mean, the low-hanging fruit is the one that is the ripest.
Yes.
It's the one that tastes the best.
Like the top
so
scorer.
You're like, nah, I don't want that. And don't want the juicy red apple. I want the pale green one from the top, from the shade that never gets the sun. I'm going Trippier. Newcastle have some tricky fixtures ahead, but they are ahead on most teams on number of fixtures, and he's just unreal this season, isn't he? Though, he had an off couple of games where he only put up like 10 points, and people are like, "Ooh, is Trippier gonna fall off a cliff?" I mean, he's still doing double digits, like even if he just walks about.
Absolutely.
So
we'll take it.
Yeah, obviously it's not news, but yeah, he needed to be mentioned, and I took the bullet, and I.
No, that's fair. I mean, you mentioned the Newcastle fixture list. Villa, Tottenham. Okay, fine. But to end the season, they have a fixture list that could really win you your league. I mean, Southampton. Sorry, 1 second. Yes, Everton, Southampton, and then Arsenal. Okay, sure. Leeds, Leicester, Chelsea. And I mean, we've all seen Chelsea recently. That's not anything to be afraid of. So
nice double in 36 with the Leeds Brighton.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty, as you say, Totti, that's some juicy fruit.
Yep.
The lowest hanging fruit is the ripest. Is that was that Confucius? Is that the Dalai Lama? What was? I'm trying to figure out where you got that from. Is that Donald Trump?
It's
might
Paulo
be
Coelho.
Paulo Coelho. Okay, nice. Yes. Okay, I like it. It does sound like it's something out of The Alchemist. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I've gone with Luke Shaw, which might be interesting.
Despite the knock?
I mean, despite the knock, he's rumored to be back soon. Sat out today, which is fine. He doesn't need to play in Europe. Let's just have him for the Premier League. And Manchester United have a pretty juicy schedule, especially to end the season. West Ham, Wolves, Bournemouth, Fulham, last 4 fixtures. So this is a guy who absolutely could just boss those last 4 games. Yeah, I know this one's a little bit on a limb, but I think the fruit is going to be decently ripe. It's going to take a couple of weeks to mature. It's like an avocado that's really
like
green at the moment. Like a plantain, sure. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Call back to Puerto Rico.
Avocados spoil pretty easily.
or maybe just you had too much rum.
I mean, yeah, that was. God, the pina coladas are delicious. Anyway, all right, Ryan, hit us with midfielders.
Eze is like a man reborn.
I mean, love it.
So is the rest of Roy's army down at Selhurst Park. I want to see it continue because it's going to get a lot of hype and rightly so after the last couple of games. And we do need to take into account the fact that it was against Leeds this last 5 spot. So let's see if they keep it up. Schedule is a dream, as we've talked about ad nauseum. I've always liked as take some sets, always been a goal threat. they look better without Wilf, to be honest.
I know.
And he's going to be more of a goal outlet, especially if Wilf stays out. And it seems like at least a couple more weeks on that front, if at all. So, yeah, the time to get him in was a few weeks ago when the managerial change happened, and he was coming off of, I think, 2 straight bench appearances and wasn't doing much at all. So you're not trading in low anymore, of course, but at the same time, you could take advantage of a little less name recognition for, I don't know, somebody like a Bernardo Silva +1 or like some other assets that have better name recognition for someone like Eze, because he's gonna ball.
I like it. We had a couple of questions from listeners. I'm just going to toss them in here because we're on the subject, guys. Eze or Olise rest of season, who you like better?
Olise for me.
I like Eze.
Oh, wow. But to be clear, both are amazing, right? Like I would give me both of them any day of the week.
Choosing between your children.
Exactly. plus their fixtures are a dream. So yeah, I mean, you say whoever, I can't remember who exactly said that, but yeah, I mean, like it's Sophie's choice. Honestly, these are both amazing choices, and if you have the choice to make, don't just start them both.
It's I was listening to one of the Athletics podcasts, and they were saying that since Hodgson came back in, they had 2 games and they had 30 plus shots in the first game and 30 plus successful dribbles in the second game. So the question obviously is, what are they going to have 30 plus of in the third game? And our very own Drafted Thoughts quipped that it's Southampton, so it's going to be goals. But actually, Gavin's tip of aerials is a decent one as well. I mean, they're not going to keep up this type of attacking prowess. So I'd exercise caution on both Eze and Olise to be fair, but that schedule is so good that you can't be too cautious. Like you don't want to trade out high at this point in time. But it's just that like both of them had a ridiculous amount of points connected to these stats, which are unsustainable.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, a little bit of caution. That's fine. We all need that. To clarify, Ibby at Ibby343 was the Eze versus Olise ROS outlook. And then there was Manimar at Moonmar82, who said that now that Olise is in a functional attacking system, could he be a top 5 midfielder rest of season?
I see top 10, but I don't think top 5.
Yeah,
I agree.
Bridge too far?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay, yeah, and not. I mean, just because there's going to be players who probably outscore him. Not that, top 10's amazing. Keep him, start him, all the above. Cool. All right, Totti, midfield, highly rostered, win your league.
Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a guy.
I hate to admit it.
He's been on fire lately, and their solitary brain cells connected with Erling Haaland, and they form some sort of superhuman partnership. More so, I think, on the pitch than KDB and Haaland do. Maybe it's to do with brain cells as well. But yeah, like
it's because of their ethos. They're just so similar, like in terms of human beings.
yeah,
KDB is too sophisticated for them.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Their vibe is more broy.
I fully expect them to have both of them to have like a Bacta tank full of Prime at home, and they just go home and they just float in Prime.
I love that so much.
What?
Oh, the not only the fact that you said back to tank, which proves how much of a nerd you are, and I love you.
I don't
for
even
it.
know what that means.
Oh, the back to tank is from Star Wars. It's what you can see Boba Fett floating in it to heal.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah.
one that Darth Vader floats in.
Yeah.
And
also Luke, I think
Luke does at the beginning of
yep,
or
yep.
at the end of Return. Yeah.
Anyway,
Empire
okay,
Strikes
now
Back,
now this is too far. Now we've just lost about
I didn't
half
know
our
what that
audience.
was called. Jesus, yeah, you are a nerd.
Totti's amazing.
How do you spell it?
It's, I think, BACTA.
I wonder if it's an acronym. It's just like some brand from the Outer Rim.
I hope so. All right. Anyway, anything else to say on Grealish aside from that brilliant comment?
I think like with Foden out, suffering from the residual effects of appendicitis, and the new system in which they've started working with Haaland in there, and they've started clicking lately. Actually locks down Grealish for, I think, the most minutes rest of the season for City. And they have 2 doubles, if I'm not mistaken. 1 blank and 2 doubles rest of the season.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, a no-brainer. Anyone who didn't get him in will probably not be able to now, after those 225 plus scores, but yeah, I mean, I think he will be a league winner.
Yeah. And Manchester City had the fifth most favorable schedule for midfielders rest of season. So what I've done is I've taken our fixture difficulty tracker on the Draft Society website and downloaded the copy of it that you can go and get, where you can actually customize the game weeks that you're looking at. So I'm looking at game week 31 through the very end, and it goes like this for midfielders: Liverpool number 1, so that's a write-off. Brighton number 2, which we'll get to in a second. United, Newcastle, and then City. So there you are. God, not to mention they face Leicester this week. Oh, Lord, they're going to feast.
Yeah, they are.
I've never wanted Rafa Benitez to take a job so much in my life.
You've got the poor man's Rafa Benitez, Dean Smith.
Dino.
Is that what they call him these days? The poor man's Rafa Benitez?
I mean,
he's pretty poor himself.
I'll be honest, Rafa Benitez himself is the poor man's Rafa Benitez.
These days.
These days, yeah.
It's true, yeah. All right. Anyway, mine won't require much. Actually, I'm not going to explain this one at all. I'm just going to say Mitoma, and we can move on.
Fair.
I just mentioned Brighton's fixture list for midfielders. That's all you need to know. That plus the fact that they double in 34. I mean, there you go.
Then they double in 36 and then 37 as well. So
yeah.
So they look like the perfect playoff trade target. Also, he has now got some accolades as well. Like we knew that he did the thesis. We knew he was doing well in the Premier League, but he didn't have any awards to show for it yet.
Okay.
Now he does.
And what is this award? I missed.
It is the coveted Peter Venkman Award.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, someone didn't get high on their own supply.
I'm
week,
sorry,
Joe.
I did not read the article yet. I will before kickoff. But
That's
do you
too
want
late.
to explain the Peter Venkman? You've done this before, but just refresh us, right?
Yeah, I mean it's the anti-ghost points award, Ghostbuster, if you will, named after the legendary Ghostbuster, Dr. Peter Venkman. So it goes to a player who failed to get any ghosts at all that particular week. And in this case, unfortunately, it was Kairo Mitoma who ended up with 1.5. And so I delved a little deeper into his ghosting tendencies and found that his ghosts are only about 7 per start, which has been a little bit kept under the radar by all of his attacking returns. And when you took him out, wrongfully, of course, this week, you end up with a score like 1.5, which is obviously an aberration. But still, when you juxtapose that 7 ghosts a game with March's 10 plus, it really gives you a little bit of a golf if Matoma's not scoring or nicking assists. So I said in the article that's something to take into account and factor in before drafts next season when there's the Matoma hype hysteria.
Yeah, so, there definitely will be.
Yeah, so something to think about. But yeah, love the guy.
Interesting that none of us put Solly March in here. Are we sick of hearing his name?
Yes.
We have faced him long enough. None of us have him.
We definitely did. I faced him 2 weeks ago.
Just did.
Lost that one. I think I lost that week by 4. Yeah, anyway. Also, Solly March, a great player, and will probably win you your league. So keep him if you have him. Start him every week. Get him in if it's at all humanly possible. Okay, let's move to forwards. Ryan.
Gabriel Jesus.
Shocker.
Called it. Need my flowers. 2 starts in a row, straight from the long injury layoff. 46 points later.
Yeah.
Dude is fuego.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, there are some tricky fixtures away at City, away at Newcastle. But that's interspersed with some really tasty ones. West Ham, Southampton, Chelsea, Forest, Wolves. He's going to be nailed on, and he's fit and firing. This is another one where the buy low was a few weeks ago with Philistines like Totti telling you that he's not going to start.
I've got to eat my words on that. Yeah.
And your boys from your home league filling you up on Trossard hype. But yeah, Jesus he's the man.
Can't argue with that. Totti, you're forward.
I want to say Darwin Núñez.
So say it.
Darwin Núñez.
Okay. Thanks.
Thought about that too.
Yeah. It's Liverpool fixtures for one. It's honestly, if I was asked who gets the most minutes after Salah from the Liverpool front line, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Right.
I just think Núñez has found, obviously has had a bit of a niggle or an illness last couple of game weeks, so he didn't start. But I think he's found somewhat of a flow or a rhythm in the Premier League, which he didn't have at the beginning, and these teams that they're facing in the upcoming games are just ripe for the taking to annihilate. So yeah, I think Núñez will be there. I think all of the Liverpool forwards are decent shouts. If I'm being honest, I have no idea who or how to get them in, or what kind of offer someone would have to put together to get them in. but if you have a chance to get even one of them in, I think I'm
Do you need
lowest.
cover for him?
I think I'm
given
lowest
the
on Diaz.
Competition.
What do you mean?
It would help to have cover. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, just the prospect of getting in Jota by himself is it's tricky. It's almost like a city
that's
thing.
what I mean. That's what I mean. Even if you can find them common ground based on Robbie's ranks or some outside help on valuing these players, you'd still be looking at a headache every weekend whether they start or not. But at this point, I think, and Joe, forgive me for jumping forward a lot. Joe has Thiago in his hidden gems category. So someone like him for cover, or maybe one of the less fancied or more rotationy midfielders could come in for cover. Obviously, not a life insurance all by itself. So I'm not sure having one of them without a solid core to your team would be good. But the upside is definitely there, and as they have no midweek commitments, they should be their fixtures should be more towards the center or the middle of the game week rather than early or late. So you'll hopefully be able to sort of cover them with your roster rather than a 1-for-1 cover from a Liverpool game.
Except for this week, of course. But ideally. I mean, all of those reasons that you've just mentioned is exactly why I chose Salah. So I don't think I probably need to say a whole lot else. The fixtures are they're just so tasty. And hopefully he finds his form here a little bit. He's been struggling, but I'm going to stick with the man, especially when you've got Leeds, Forest, West Ham, Fulham, Leicester coming up. So, yeah. All right, cool. So that's the highly rostered players. Let's move on to the mid rostered players. I mean, or however you interpreted this, Ryan.
I'm just gonna say my piece and
go for it.
Do with it what you will.
Take it away.
Goalkeepers. I love Leno. He's one of the few Fulham guys that I like. He doesn't mind being at the beach. He's still going to get you saves because that defense just won't allow anything else but a lot of shots. He's also got a rough double, but it's one where you want that goalkeeper in that team. I think it's City and someone else bad, but a lot of shots.
It's City and Liverpool.
Yeah, so I don't want really anyone else outside of I don't want anyone else really. But he's going to get a fair amount of saves in those two games. So I like him on between the sticks. Fabian Schär, my defender. We talked about Newcastle having that double and a good stretch of games. I think you alluded to a question about playoffs. I think Schär is a good one to get in because that double and 36 and the stretch in the run-in is going to be great for playoffs. Schär is the best ghosting defender in the back four outside of Trippier.
Yeah, because the other ones don't really.
Yeah, Botman and Burn a tiny, but Burns rangy. Botman's not usually much at all. So, yeah, I don't know if you want to just go straight through mid and forward as well.
Yeah, go for it. Sure, why not?
Okay. Totti doesn't look at other people's selections before he puts in his. We both have the same forward. I'm not giving up on Hamid Traore just yet. He's got some sort of weird illness that's keeping him from starting lately. But I'm still going to give him a shot. And this little dip and absences, I think you can get him on a low now that the hype is kind of dissipated. So that's why I put him in the mid tier, because I think he can still score like a top tier player. So not giving up on him yet. He's my mid for this category. And then up front, again, Newcastle ad nauseum. Isaac has a lot of upside, and given the fixtures, I think he'll be a good one to have for the run. And having said that, the Wilson rotation is a bit worrying and weird. Although Wilson has been scoring when he's gotten appearances, but yeah, one of those things that you'll need some sort of cover or not be able to fully trust him week in, week out. But yeah, he's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, I think at this point you can't drop Isak with the form he's in.
No,
Wilson is in a good form as well, though.
Sure. But he's also a great, super sub. I mean, he's kind of at that point in his career, right? And you also want to save him from just destroying
inevitable
his legs
injury
by using them.
Yeah. That's how you destroy them.
Yeah, some people that's just like it's a normal wear and tear process. But use your legs and then they fall apart. Yep. It's like an IKEA furniture.
Yep.
Okay. Totti, take it away. Give us your mid-tier guys.
I've gone Aaron Cresswell for defense.
Go on.
He's back.
That's interesting.
Well and truly back. As mentioned in said Ghost Point Hunters article.
Thank you.
As well. Although West Ham have some treacherous fixtures to overcome.
Indeed.
I think their run-in is very good. Their final three, if I remember correctly. And
Brentford leads Leicester.
Yep, and the fact that they got the win last weekend, I think, will nicely turn them on to survival mode. And Cresswell was very good in that. My midfielder is a West Ham player as well, who was out due to a minor issue last weekend. It is actually Lucas Paqueta, who we shouted out at the beginning of the season as a very, very highly thought of prospect coming in. He was supposedly on the radar for many of the big teams, and West Ham got him somehow.
Yeah, imagine
Felipe
Liverpool
Anderson.
could have used him.
God, yeah, don't even. So he was one of the guys who most people spent like all of the fab on. He didn't turn out to be the attacking all-action masterclass that he was supposed to be based on his Lyon days and Brazilian national team days. But lately, he's been ghosting very well. So these are his points since February, early February. 13 and 13.75, then a half, but there was a sub appearance. There was there was not a start.
Okay.
7.75, 6.25 in a 4-0 loss against Brighton. 16, 11.75, and 8.75. That is also in a 5-1 loss.
Would you start him this weekend against Arsenal?
I would. He just had the most tackles won by any player in this season's Premier League against Southampton. He had 8 tackles won.
Oh wow!
And he's doing the less flashy attacking, key passy, shot on targety, point getting, more across the board, getting points from everywhere it comes. So I would start him against Arsenal if I didn't have a more upsidey play.
That's interesting. You don't think of him doing that kind of work on the pitch.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. I like it. I actually looked at him too. I don't know why I was dissuaded, but I definitely looked at him when I was creating my list. So good call. And then
I went with Isak as well because
Right.
there's not much life in the mid-tier forward market. I thought about going Gambomo, who besides the rest he got this last game week, he has been doing very well. But yeah, I prefer Isak, so I went with doubling up on Isak with Ryan.
Yeah, I like it.
I thought about going ASM in this one, just because he's been a monster, and I think the knock won't keep him out much, but might give you a little bit of a price break. But I don't know, too much Newcastle.
Fair. No. All right. Well, I have Estupinian in at defense. I mean, we've talked about the schedule, so I don't want to beat that horse to death. However, I will say that according to our fixture difficulty tracker, they actually only have the 5th most favorable remaining rest of season schedule. I think that's probably because they do face Arsenal, against whom defenders score an average of 2.7 points. And they also face Manchester City in there, against whom defenders score an average of 1. Just a single point.
Yeah, that's those two games kind of make up for the extra amount of games they have.
Yeah, the doubles. Yeah. But regardless, he's been fantastic. He's been ghosting well, which of course are points that are not linked to clean sheets or attacking returns. He's just been great. So yeah, if you can, bring him in. Probably easier than most of the guys that we've been talking about. So see what you can do. Up next, Everton. I have to admit it, McNeil, man, he's here.
He was right. You could see it. He is on my list.
Yeah,
as well. Yeah. He's been really good.
He's here, and it looks like he's here to stay. Yeah, we doubted a little bit, and
hello,
Daesh, man, what are you gonna do? It's just literally, it's like clockwork. He comes back, and suddenly the man is just a ghost point god again, and it just, yeah, it's the system. So say what you will, but McNeil, he's gonna be fantastic, and it doesn't seem to matter who they play. So bring him in if you can. And finally, I've got, this is a kind of an out there one, but I like
this one.
I've got Sinistera, and he's been doing really well since he's come back. He always had it in his locker, but he's actually been kind of putting it together. 6.5 in 64 minutes, 6.5 in 59 minutes, and then 23 against Forest with the goal. But I mean, he's just a lively player. He's a live wire on the pitch. He's always doing something. He a lot of times their attack tries to kind of go through him, and so if they're gonna be their backs against the wall, needing creativity from somewhere, I like for it to be from him.
I like that shot. Definitely passes the eye test. Like you said, he's a dangerous player. I just don't know if he can stay fit. That's
I know.
The only knock on him, but otherwise, yeah, he's great.
Yeah, it's like with the fitness issues. Let's pretend it's draft day. How many rounds does that knock him down for you?
God, I'm hearkening back to this past draft day. I had him earmarked for the 7th round.
Yeah,
I think all of my drafts.
Would you take him there again?
Probably.
Yeah. 7th sounds about right. I mean, you're obviously tempted to go earlier than that, but I mean, just like you said, with the injuries, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one, and I'm sure we will talk about that ad nauseum over the summer. All right.
Yeah, Leeds, just one more point. Leeds has a decent run of fixtures outside of City and 35 for forwards. So Liverpool, Fulham, Leicester, Bournemouth. That's tasty.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm debating on whether to start him against Liverpool. It's tricky because it's the last fixture, so I might have someone backing him up in case he doesn't go or get skittish. But yeah, I like him against Liverpool and really anybody else other than City.
The only thing is it's crowded for them in the attacking third.
Yeah, I'm curious how Rodrigo comes back into the fold if he does. Bamford scored. Sinisterra's looked good. Yeah, it's hard to tell how Gracia feels about him because he hasn't really had much time with them. But they're compatriots, and I could see him being a manager favorite. But yeah, something to keep in mind.
All right. I like it.
He could be a hidden gem.
Yeah, I think he could. But he is still fairly rostered, which is interesting. So
yeah, he was out for so long.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of hidden gems, Ryan, you want to kick us off with your choices?
Yes, I had to demarcate Neto, the goalkeeper, in this one. I didn't want to confuse him with the Neto of the Pedro persuasion.
Oh God!
Even though I was tempted to put it here.
Of course you were. Of course you were.
Want to do.
Yep.
So yeah, Neto, Bournemouth goalkeeper, makes a fair amount of saves. Doesn't have the best name recognition. Could still be available in your league. To continue the Palace love fest, Joachim Anderson, who's kind of come in and out of the Ghost Point article over the season. He's back in our good graces. I think he just got 10. He just got 8 with a goal conceded. Given their schedule, he's a good defender to have. Old Jeffrey Schlupp featured in my article this week as well.
My name is Jeff.
Yes, just to put Palace over the top. My forward really isn't a hidden gem per se, but I think a fair amount of folks probably sleeping on him just because he hasn't started many games, but I think he will because of the upcoming schedule in Champions League. It looks like City's going to be at least going to the semis. So I think Julian Alvarez will get some starts over the next month or so.
That is interesting. Like, do you mean over Holland?
That or shift it out to the wing to give somebody a rest.
I'm wondering because
Alvarez came on for
KDB
midweek, and he looked dangerous. So I don't think it technically has to be a like for like, but
well, that makes me nervous now as a KDB manager.
No, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a cover direct for KDB. But
it's just anybody who needs a rest.
Yeah, I just think he'll be a utility player that will get more starts than people will think.
All right. Well, okay. So you think he'll get starts as well? Because you wouldn't start him off the bench.
No.
Okay.
Maybe in a double.
Yeah, double.
Maybe in a double.
Yeah, I was going to say, in a double, I think I'd start him off the bench.
Okay. All right. Interesting. That's an interesting shout because
they have two. They have two doubles, so
they do.
Yeah. He's a good shot from the bench in either of those.
He's going to be one of those that people struggle with a little bit going forward, I think. I've seen him dropped in places.
Yeah, that's why I kind of included him here.
Yeah.
I think he might be available.
I like it. All right, Totti, hidden gems for you. Potential league winners.
I have gone very hidden. My defender is one Michael Keane, who has gotten his spot back to form the former Burnley duo under the former Burnley manager at Everton. He's not as prolific as his partner in crime.
Who could be though?
Yeah. But I think he's a decent shot. They have a decent schedule upcoming. They don't blank. So yeah, I'm okay holding him.
I like that.
My midfielder is one N'Golo Kante, who will miss games.
Sure.
That has to be caveated. But when he starts, his definite start for me. His well, obviously, well, I have to think a bit more on this because I had um, I had seen him play under Potter and I've seen him play under Bruno, but I haven't seen him play under Frank tonight in Champions League. So I don't know what role he occupied. But I think he started doing the box to box stuff under Lampard when he first was at Chelsea. So
he was probably the best player on the pitch for Chelsea today. He was all over the place, like you said, box to box.
yeah,
Bodes well.
and I think in the two games that he played so far since his injury, both times he pushed right up to the penalty box. He was all over the place. He was taking shots. He was sliding passes through in the to the 6-yard box. He was like a proper sort of number 10 box to box midfielder. So yeah, if you can cover or survive benching him if he's not starting, then he's definitely someone who you can always trust for a good floor, I think. Rest of the season and the most. Go ahead.
3 key passes. Sorry, against Liverpool.
Yeah,
3 key passes.
Yep.
That's not numbers we're used to seeing from him. That's awesome.
And also he had the assist on the Havertz goal that was ruled out.
Oh, interesting. I didn't remember that.
And my forward is Odsonne Edouard, who I think when he came in we liked him because he fit the mold of pacey, agile attackers that they were gathering in South London. But then Vieira played a very restrictive type of football with them, and obviously he wasn't able to nail down the spot. He didn't score enough goals. He didn't create enough. But he's an easy and cheap way to get on the already fully blown Crystal Palace bandwagon.
Yeah, I like that.
And
I like that a lot.
I don't.
Oh, well, okay. That's fine. I mean,
It's
I like
too
it.
much.
I like it at least for the next 3 weeks. Southampton, Everton, Wolves. I like it.
I just don't like Edouard or Mateta. They don't do anything. They don't do anything. I was going to say other than score goals, but they don't do that. So
They don't do anything, and then you're gonna like expand upon that.
yeah. And I was started to think, and I was like, no, they don't. Just leave it at that.
You know what? They just never mind. They just don't do anything. Yeah, no, you're right. Toddy and I were talking a little bit before you hopped on, and I was like, yeah, I really like Edouard, and Toddy was like, the only problem is he didn't really score any goals.
Yeah.
And guess what his ghost point per start average is?
I'm sure it's terrible.
Just guess.
3.
Oh well, I didn't think you could lowball it, but you did. 3.7.
I mean, I know that he's very goal dependent. Very goal dependent.
Under Roy, he had a 7-point game, all ghosts, against Leicester.
See?
And 15.5 with a goal, so that's
4.
yeah 4.5.
Ooh.
I mean, we're not talking.
I take it back.
Okay,
We're
not,
talking
we're not
hidden
blowing the doors
gems,
off here.
like
Yeah.
Leave them hidden. Leave them in the dirt.
No. We are uncovering.
I mean,
Diamond
No.
and
I
rough.
mean, when you're comparing him to guys on the same
Become
level,
fossils.
like Carlos Vinicius and Jan Wissa and these types of guys, I think he comes out a winner in the category. Like he's not gonna, he's not gonna get more points than Jesus, Salah, and Nunez, but he'll do a job for you.
But you would agree that you would rather have Ayew.
Yes.
Okay. And that's just because I have him in my list. And we actually switched these because you've been talking about Ayew for the last like 3 weeks, Totti.
Yeah.
So we decided to go ahead and switch these so I could talk about Ayew for once. And honestly, yeah. I mean, somebody asked me today in my group chat for my community league, because we toss ideas off each other for our home leagues. And he said, home league, would you rather have Wilson or Ayew rest of season?
Oh, it's Ayew all day.
Yep.
That's what I said.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's what I said. And I said, you're going to get 90 minutes from this man every single game week.
Unless Isak got hurt for the rest of the season, you knew Wilson was going to start all of those games. But outside of that, it's Ayew.
100%. Yeah.
But the only way way you can do that is if you are if you have the special ability that one of my colleagues does at the swimming pool, who has she has a monthly task of renewing the the little sheets of paper that are stuck on the insides of the bathrooms that people who clean them have to sign. And she does them weekly. She changes them weekly. And she usually does them on a Thursday. But for some reason, she did them on a Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, she wrote me a message that I got sick. I can't come in this week, the rest of the week. And I was like, but you did the thing yesterday that you always do on Thursday. So if someone has that special ability regarding Isak, then they would know if Wilson was worth rostering.
The special ability to know,
as in reading the future.
Yeah, the special ability to know when you are going to get sick.
But in this case, it's the special ability to know when you're going to skip work because you've already planned to do so very clearly.
I mean, who knows what Wilson's doing in his free time, to be honest.
Well, okay, sure, yes.
He could be skipping work with my colleague.
It's a weird anecdote, but I like it.
I love the anecdote. It's fantastic. Okay. All right. Well, yes, Totti, I'm taking that in stride. I'm trying my best. It's great. One of the number of gems you've had today. Speaking of gems, okay, I mentioned Ayew. Totti, you already mentioned Thiago for me. He's coming back. I would definitely bring him in. He may not play all the games, but good God, Liverpool need any creativity whatsoever in that midfield. Yes, things looked a little bit better second half against Arsenal. That was home. Things got ramped up. Arsenal sat back. It just was a perfect recipe for Liverpool to look good. But by all means, nothing's fixed there. So they need Thiago. They need that creativity in the midfield. And we've already talked that they have the best remaining fixture list for midfielders, according to our fixture difficulty tracker. And then for a defender, I did not go with a defender. Instead, I went with the goalkeeper because we've talked already quite a bit about Brighton's schedule. And so I went with one Mr. Steele between the sticks because you can still get him. I think he's like 30-something% rostered, or maybe even less than that.
You'll be able to get him game week 32, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, no one's holding him.
Sure, that's true. Yeah, so maybe you just wait. Honestly, maybe you just wait, and then they have Forest, Wolves. Forest, and then Wolves and United in a double. And then Everton. So, yeah, off to the races. Let's go.
Yep.
I like it. All right, boys. We're going to tackle a couple of listener questions and hopefully not belabor things too much. We'll take them as quickly as we can without feeling so rushed that we increase our anxiety levels or those of the listeners. But we'll get through as many as we can and just have fun with it. So let's kick it off. Our friend Adam Murphy. Good to hear from you, Murph.
Murph dog.
At Chelsea Blues 24X, with so many manager sackings following the World Cup and several interims to be replaced this summer, will it be difficult to assess player value and team projections during draft prep season? Ryan, what do you think about that?
It's a good question. A lot of it will depend on kind of what clarity we get end of season, early summer. But I don't put that much stock into a lot of managerial transitions unless they're pretty stark, unless there's a guy that you know his style, like a Daesh, you know what you're going to
Exactly,
get.
yeah.
Those types of
Right.
managerial decisions. But yeah, there are some players that are going to thrive regardless. And so I think for most of the really good teams, they're pretty set. So I think it will a little bit along the edges, but I don't think it's going to be a huge determining factor in the draft. We'll see.
Yeah, plus with transfers, it's going to be the usual shit show, trying to figure out exactly who all's gonna play, and then you got the players who came in this season, and then didn't get much time this season, and then I'm thinking of like a Noni Madueke, somebody like that who didn't get much time this season, and maybe will actually have more of a breakout year next year. There's a lot to think about. It always is. You know very well, Murph. You did this.
I
Go ahead,
kind of disagree. I think first of all, thank you, Joe, for ruining the amazing non fighty nature that we had last time around.
Yeah.
So I
problem.
disagree. I
No
think
problem. I'm here to be divisive.
like after the current or below the current top four, so that's Arsenal, City, Newcastle United, essentially everything will be moving pieces. Like Spurs, new manager. Aston Villa, will Emery be able to kick on, or will they fade into midfield nothingness? Brighton, huge question mark. On the basis
That's going to rely on transfers.
Yeah.
I think as long as they keep De Zerbi, they're going to be fine.
They're going to be fine.
Same with Villa.
Yeah, I agree they're going to be fine, but there is a fine line between first, second round assets and fine. But I think,
But also who leaves and what's the value of any new player who steps in?
Yeah,
this is what Murph's saying. I
think
agree.
Chelsea,
I think
Chelsea
this
and
helps.
Spurs are definitely the two that throw a lot of issues around, and both of them, for me, depend. So the system that they play, both of them rely very heavily on the wing backs, and that kind of slots everything into place, like every position's perceived value. Like if the Chelsea attacks are going through Chilwell and Reece James, then obviously even if there's a 10 employed in Mount or anyone else, then there's not going to be a lot of attacks going through that. Same with Spurs, midfielders fall in value, whereas wingbacks rise in value if a manager who likes to attack through the wings or through the wingbacks comes in. Obviously, I agree with Ryan that transfers will have a much bigger effect than the new managers. But I think these two high profile managers with a lot of perceived value in the team, so a lot of like top end value both in Chelsea and Spurs, it's going to be affected by the type of manager that comes in.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a few cases of that, but I think the fact that some of these managerial changes happened mid-season, thinking again Brighton and Villa, are good for fantasy managers because we have at least a few data points to study going into the draft, because you know that Emery can get a tune out of Villa. You know who's going to play where. He's going to have some transfers, but you know the general formation. And same with De Zerbi at Brighton. So
that's fair. That's
feel
fair.
good going into the draft for those. But
those are
Spurs and Chelsea are definitely a special case. But I think I'd rather have assets from the former two. Anyways.
Yeah.
But those two are seasoned Premier League managers. Like, they're the 10th and 11th longest serving Premier League managers.
De Zerbi?
Yeah, De Zerbi and Emery.
Wow, that's ridiculous. You're making a joke. At first I thought I was like, is this man out of his mind? No, you're being completely, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's the situation
wow.
that we're in.
Wow. And I mean, I guess that's why Murph asked the question.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah, you've convinced me, Totti. Yes, Murph, it's going to be effing hell to rank players this year. There you go.
It's always hell.
Yeah,
it is always hell.
It is. All right. Our good friend Magnus Goodmanson, looking at the remaining fixtures, which defensive streamers would you put your money on performing well? Well, we talked about some league winners in the hidden gems category. Is there anyone you want to add to that, guys?
In a similar vein with Hamed Traore, I can't delete Felipe's number from my phone.
I can't quit you. Yeah.
Just yet. There was some extenuating circumstances behind the nothing burger over the weekend, which cost me. Cooper rolled out a back three. If you share the defensive activities and aerials and all that, Felipe is not going to feast as much. So that's largely what I'm putting down that performance to, although there was signs the previous game week, but not that drastic. So they don't have the best schedule, it must be said. So can't be thinking about clean sheets. But I think in terms of very hidden gems and streamer level, Felipe is somebody that I would take for a spin.
I don't hate that. What's the opposite of a flat track bully?
Given that I don't know what the meaning is, but I don't know what the origin.
I don't know where it originates.
Literal translation is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, round, pole, nice guy. I don't know.
Okay, there you go.
Pacifist.
It really rolls off the tongue, Ryan.
Yes. Round, pool, pacifist.
Yep. Okay, good. Perfect. Round pool pacifist is what Felipe is. And so I don't know that you're that nervous about him coming up against some decent teams, especially if they're going to be ones who are going to be crossing a lot.
If they don't keep this stupid back three, that's something I'm going to monitor going into the Man United game this weekend, because at home, probably a fair amount of crosses. I like his prospects if they're not in a back three, although it's a later game. But rest of season, I think Felipe would qualify as in it. But I like Joachim Anderson a bit more, because they can, with that schedule, they can nick some clean sheets in addition to the ghosts. But yeah, Felipe is somebody I'd add.
Sure. Anyone else for you, Totti?
I'm afraid to say it. I will be honest with you. And I'm afraid to say it because even I don't fully believe it. But would you consider Ruben Dias someone to pick up roster stream?
Dude, I was just messaging you earlier this week about a potential trade, and I got short shrift. I think that was mostly because of Genie, but he's somebody I've been thinking about.
Blame it on Genie. It's fine. That's what we all do anyway. So you were going to bring in Diaz?
Yeah, mostly out of spite, but
the best reason
story,
to do
but
trades.
To do anything really.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's pretty much nailed on, is if anybody can be nailed on, and the two doubles, and he gets okay amount of points. Although it's if you look at his last few scores, it's like 4.5 without a clean sheet, and maybe like 11 with, or maybe sometimes 7. But the doubles is what, and the fact that he's usually more nailed on than most others, led me to the point where I was thinking about getting him in.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't like, and none of us do like City defenders, but he seems like someone who could do a job, and especially against easy opponents or doubles.
Yeah.
As I met
52% clean sheet percentage this week.
Yeah.
Who would you trade for him? Because the deal that I was contemplating was full circle Felipe.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I would.
That's close.
Yeah, they're completely.
Yeah,
opposite.
exactly. It's very close because again, Forest arguably have more to play for than City do. Because with this type of roster construction, they won't just go down; they will go into administration.
Right.
And they will cease to exist based on this one season of madness. Whereas City, they have a lot to play for. They're playing for the treble and whatever. But like one of the top defenders in the world, Aymeric Laporte, is just warming the bench. So in that sense, they have a much larger squad to play with. Therefore, personally, Diaz has less to be accounted for every given game week, in a sense. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a very close trade for me.
I don't mind it. He's actually number 4 currently, Totti, on my waiver list this week.
Nice.
Diaz?
Mm-hmm.
He's on the wire. Interesting.
Yeah.
He's got so much name recognition.
I dropped him.
I dropped him.
He's 89% rostered, but he's one of those guys. I mean, savvy Fantrax players know at this point that, City defenders are usually not worth their weight in salt. Like, it just, they're not going to deliver in terms of the fantasy points. I mean, just look at last week. Last week, if you were up against a City player against Southampton,
dude.
you thought for sure that was a clean sheet.
I had John Stones.
Oh, in the Genie League, I loaded up on Ederson and Ake.
Oh, dude, never Ederson.
And yep, I mean, I'm like fourth bottom in that league, so I had to do something.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously that didn't work out for me. I think I scored 27 points total that week.
Nice.
But yeah, people are wise to this now, and so I think that's why 87% or 89% rostered. But you'll see him out there in especially more active leagues. You'll see him available, which is kind of crazy.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that
Please.
A flat track bully is originally used for a batsman in cricket who tended to make hay while the sun shone and pitches were flat and thus unhelpful to bowlers. Being known as a flat track bully meant scoring lots of runs.
Okay. There are plenty of listeners I know for a fact who really enjoy cricket and will be disappointed we didn't know that.
I'm not sure they knew that, but please comment on.
Yeah, get at us if you knew that. If you knew that, and how the hell? Where? From where? Did your grandfather tell you that? Like, I also want to know why you knew that.
And
Wikipedia, obviously.
Give us a few other everyday sayings that originate from cricket.
Please. please. Yeah, I need these cricket-isms. All right.
Yeah.
We'll be quick about this one. Our good friend FF Flay, who we have a long history with, was on our trivia episode that we did. Just a great guy.
We should do that again.
We really need to do that again.
Fun. That was a good group.
He's saying, how do you rate my survival chances in the Genie League Champions Division? So this is the top of the top division. There's no promotion. The bottom 4 teams get relegated. He is currently bottom. He is 9-20. He has 27 points. The team above him has 31. The team above 33. And then the 2 teams above that with 36.
So he's 9 points off safety.
Right. Number 7, though, has 45. His team looks like Anderson, Botman, Felipe, Van Dijk, Bruno G, Eriksson, Enzo, Gibbs White, Nunez, Ferguson, Ben White, Ashley Young for some reason, Luis Diaz, Cody Gakpo, and then Raheem Sterling. What do you guys think? Can he do it?
It's going to all depend on those Liverpool forwards, if they can go on a run. So yeah,
I'm gonna say yes.
Some decent pieces in there.
You think so?
I'm gonna say yes, partly because I remember Robbie and myself did the live commentary on this league's draft in August.
That's right. That's
and
right.
We were just bashing him to bits because he got in Haaland and not sure who his second rounder was, but then traded away most of his mid to early round picks.
That's right.
So he ended up with, I think, maybe it was Haaland, Diaz, and then his next pick was Zinchenko.
No.
And we were like, dude. And then Haaland happened. So he went. He was. I think he was top of the league for a good while at the beginning of the season. So kudos, and also, I think he'll survive.
Okay.
I think he will too. I got a lot of faith in that young man.
I sure do. A lot of faith in him. The numbers are staggering. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, but hey, if anyone can do it, Flay, it's you.
Hopefully he has some 6-pointers coming up with those folks around him.
Yeah, that would be massive. All right. Asif Islam, good friend of ours. He's always in our inbox asking for some trade advice, which, by the way, you can do if you're an Inner Circle member. Ask him what he should do with Conte. I think we covered Conte, so we can kind of skip that one because you guys like him, it sounds like. And then he says, which players should we target for the last remaining matches, which will provide the best opportunities to make finals in our draft leagues? Guess what? We already covered that too. Asif, we love you. We did that just for you. We planned this whole document, this whole podcast just for this question. Boom. Check. Done. Move on. All right. Hordor Ingi, at Hordor Ingi 91. Where would you rate the Danish cyborg now that he's back in action? Would you try to trade him out, and what would you try to get for him?
I hope he replies to us and tells us how to really translate that beautiful name of his.
It's a wonderful name. I completely fucked it up. It's fine.
No, that's the best any of us
I think there was a decent...
I assume Icelandic folks can.
Yeah, help us out with that one, please.
Muster.
Yeah.
I assume Norwegian cyborg. I'm talking about Holland.
Isn't the Danish cyborg Eriksson? Because he...
Oh, I was thinking Holland too.
Yeah. When I
thought
saw
it was
Danish,
a
I was
mistake.
like, "There's a typo or something." Yeah.
No, he must. Yeah, he's talking. Okay, is he referring to Eriksson? Yeah, because of his heart implant.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I went there.
We messed up your name. We messed up your question. I'm sorry. Forgive us.
Give us a lot of grace.
Let's just not answer it and go for the trifecta.
We've lost him as a
moving
listener,
forward.
anyways.
Moving right along.
Sunk cost.
Yep.
As the guy who rosters the most Man United folks throughout history,
Clearly.
you got to like him as a cheeky high upside pickup, but really depends on how quickly he can get back acclimated. It'll be interesting to see if he's on the bench this weekend. That'll give a good signal as to how far along he is fitness wise. But I think especially if you need some upside, he's a pretty cheap tonic for that. So he's a good pickup in my opinion. But
pick him up for sure.
Need to, he's gone in all of my leagues already. I think last week or the week before was when folks got hip.
I mean, I'll say I brought him in a league, in the opposite league of the one where I actually drafted him and dropped him. And I will say that he is frustrating to roster. He really is. He's pretty goal dependent, actually, or not goal, but
attacking return dependent.
Yeah, scoring dependent. He doesn't do a whole lot some weeks, and it's pretty frustrating. And so even when he does, he's the type of guy who can have an assist and score 8. So just be aware, know what you're getting into. He is not by any means a mid 1, maybe not even a mid 2. He's got upside, but he's never going to be the guy who's going to score you 25 or 30.
Yeah, he's not.
That's just not his game.
It's only that schedule that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not Brentford Ericsson.
No.
God forbid Spurs Ericsson.
No, because he places more of a 6 for them, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yep. Which injury returner would you prefer rest of the season? Yuri Tielemans or
Holland.
Christian Eriksen?
Oh.
Tielemans.
You sure? Why?
Yeah.
Have you looked at his numbers?
No.
Yeah,
he doesn't need to look at the numbers.
Yeah. Yes, I have. Actually, speaking of managerial transitions, I think Dino is going to get a tune out of him, and I think they're obviously have a lot to play for, and they're going to need some attacking prowess, and I think Tielemans is going to be looked upon to provide
He's going to be Demont.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah,
I picked him up in another league too, so yeah, I'm excited.
I was holding off, but I'm glad we've.
I mean, so did I. I picked him up as well.
Nice.
Oh, super. I'm glad you got him in.
Because Ryan won't now. All right, here we go. Tom Husband at Fireworm21.
Love it.
Perfect. At this stage of the season, how much do you think the adage of having something to play for matters and changes players' values rest of the season? We've talked about being on the beach. How much does having something to play for matter?
I think it's marginal, and I think there are so few teams that have legit nothing to play for, especially this season. That I think it's pretty marginal. I don't think it's that impactful at all.
We had a whole discussion on that 2 weeks ago, and not a whole lot's changed since then. So, if you would just go check that out. But yeah, thanks for the question, Tom. Drafting for upside, number 4. Gut reaction, no data here, just curious. Have player values felt more transient and volatile this season than ones previous?
I think this is a great question. I've kind of felt this at certain points of the season, just that there's so little consistency outside of a lot of the big boys. So to use the example of Ahmed Traore, you think he's the consistent ghoster, and then he has a couple bad performances, and same with Felipe, and then Anderson has been up and down. So just like on the ghost point front, it's just been a lot of swings and roundabouts. So I think that's right. I don't know why. And again, this is just, anecdotal, but I think that's right.
Totti?
I'm not sure. I like the argument that Ryan put forward. The only thing that makes me question it is that I think the volatility is higher this season in high-profile assets, mainly because of the struggles for Chelsea and Liverpool, and to some extent Spurs. And that's why we feel the volatility more prevalent, because it's our first and second and third round picks, not our streamers and end of draft picks. But if you just put together all of the data for all of the players, I doubt that there is a difference this season as opposed to other seasons. It's just happening more to the high upside assets. But it's not happening to lower. Like, for example, I was checking out Olise and Eze for our discussions today, and with that 44 spot last
insane
week, Olise moved into the top 20 overall, and I was like, "What?" But Palace have been shit all season.
Right.
And then I just had a look through, and yeah, he's been quietly decent. And
Neze's 30.
It's the same with someone like Bernardo Silva, who I rostered in a few leagues, and I had been thoroughly disappointed with him. And when I was looking to try to trade him out, or just try to value him for our consensus ranks, I was like, he's actually been decent. It's just like he hasn't been off the charts good, but he's been decent. And there are a few examples of like the other side of the volatility spectrum. So
like James Ward-Prowse, maybe.
Yeah, but we expect that from him.
Do we? We do?
To be consistent?
No, I'm saying the opposite side. He's been terrible this year.
He hasn't. He's been amazing.
What?
What?
Where do you live? Is it planet Earth or somewhere else?
Has he been?
I just sounded like the coolest middle schooler right there.
You really did.
Yeah. I just
What
got
rock
you.
you've been hiding under, man.
I just got you good, you fucker.
Now you've got to put the 18 plus thingy on again.
Okay, Ben Chickens had the funniest comment. Hold on. He said basically, let me get to it. Sorry.
This is amazing radio.
This is awesome radio. I get it. Almost there. Okay. All right. So he had a couple of different comments under the podcast, but he said, now that you are an E-rated podcast, who do you believe to be the trickiest bastard in the Premier League currently, and are they fantasy relevant rest of season? I love it. But anyway, okay, sorry. We can get to that maybe if we have time. But yeah, man, James Ward-Prowse has been terrible. What do you mean? Like, he's scoring consistently under 10 week in and week out. And then he has a week here and there where he has, 20, 16, but it's few and far between.
He had a bad run between September and beginning of November or end of October, but like from October it's 10, 10.75, 12.5, 19, 14, 10, 34, 8.
Sounds like you should have traded him out then. Because the run I'm talking about was from February to April.
Which was
a bad run.
Yeah.
So his PPS the last 3 years has been 11-ish, and he's at 11.1.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't. That's.
But we're not okay. My point is, we're not used to him doing the thing where he does a 28er a 21er, and then a 3, a negative 0.5 in 90 against Brentford.
Yeah,
That's bad.
5 against West Ham. Like, I mean, yeah, just
but there was Neil Jones,
my point is,
wasn't it?
You can't blame everything on Neil Jones.
You can blame.
You do this all the time. Anytime I bring something up, you say it's Neil Jones' fault.
You can blame a lot of things on Neil Jones. He can take it. That man can take it.
It's true.
Was his name Neil?
I think it was Neil.
You talking about Neil Pinnock?
No, it was Nathan. It was Nathan.
It was.
Why do we always shoehorn in Neil?
I mean, we should get someone called Neil on the pod at some point.
We need a Neil. We have to have a Neil. We've already done with Neil Pinnock. I mean,
and Neil
history.
Jones.
We have a history. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, Totti, did you have another example of somebody you said was not volatile? Is that what you were going for?
No. Let's just move on.
Okay. Sweet. Sounds good. Let's do a couple more and then we'll wrap it up. All right. Carol at Cade, longtime listener. Shout out. What's up, brother? Leicester forwards, avoid the situation, or would you bet on someone to rise as the clear starter?
Avoid.
I'd love to avoid.
I think we can move right along on that one.
But if I was going to bet on somebody, it'd be Nacho. Just because he's shown the most upside with that purple patch. So maybe he can be Dino's Ollie Watkins.
Oof. Which was a very limited purple patch, to be honest.
I mean, if we are talking
3-week stretch,
if we are talking Dino's whatever, then I hope Harvey Barnes become Dino's Jack Grealish.
Fuck off. He's not.
Well, that's the explicit tag right there. We were allowed to.
He's not even going to be Dino's Ross Barkley. Let's be real.
Ryan bumped us into 3. I know. I have 2. This episode. It's almost like yellow cards, right? When you get to a certain number, just kicked off the pod. Sorry.
That was a soft yellow, though.
it was a soft yellow.
I mean, at this point,
all right, more.
If we get the tag, we should just lean in, shouldn't we?
Well, okay. Speaking
you skipped over a good one.
What? Okay, go ahead.
I mean, a couple good ones.
Well,
I mean, Brando's is good. It's lighthearted, and Ben Chickens is actually pretty good.
All right, so Brando, when we make the porridge pod, what's it going to be called? To which somebody on the Draft Society account responded with a child asking for more porridge, and it says more, which got me thinking that
it's not a child; it's Oliver freaking Twist.
Okay,
man.
well,
Come on.
fine.
Isn't he a child though? Isn't he a child though?
Yeah, what do you know about literature?
He's a book. No, so it got me thinking that I think the perfect title is...
It's such a bad pun. It's going to be such a bad pun.
I got a good one, though.
I think the title is, Please, Sir, May I Have Another?
I like that. Yeah. I was going to stick to the KPC acronym that Brando did. Say, keep porridge creamy.
I do like that a lot.
That's a good one. That's a very...
Keen porridge community. That's good, too. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the creamy one.
Genius, Brando.
To answer his first question is we don't really get any rest and don't have any difficulties filling our time with draft prep and all kinds of company related stuff.
Oh, we write our asses off over the summer.
Yeah.
We write and write and write.
I mean, the World Cup break should really have been the time to start the porridge pod.
You're right.
Yeah, it was a good time. Like, it gets a bit colder. Summer is not a good porridge season.
Yeah.
Summer is for hip hop. As they say.
It's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, Summertime by Will Smith would have you believe that as well.
Is that hip hop?
It's a true story.
Would you call that hip hop? I'm not really sure.
Anything with DJ Jazzy Jeff is inherently hip hop.
There you go. Then that's the question answered. Asked and answered. All right, I got one question for you, and then we do have to just quickly talk about Ben's trickiest bastard question because we really need to cover that. But Fantrax Flukes at Fantrax Fluke singular. Reece James, top 10 player rest of season.
I say no, but I like what he's kind of intimating, and I've had the same inclination myself based off of the fact that he just dropped like a 20 spot with a goal conceded in his first appearance with Frank in a back four. So it looks like the ghosts are going to flow again. Having said that, one, can he keep fit? And two, Chelsea's schedule is rough. So I think he's going to be a good asset rest of season, but I don't think he's going to be top 10.
Agreed.
Cool. All right. Trickiest bastard in the Premier League.
What does tricky bastard entail?
I mean, you tell me. My mind immediately goes to Emi Martinez.
Insufferable. The most insufferable.
I mean, but not like in a bad way. I get a feeling that this is almost like a playful bastard. Like you're a bastard, but it's like you love to hate the guy too.
Like you want him on your team.
Yeah.
Xhaka?
Xhaka's a good shout. Xhaka's a good shout, especially after this last week.
And also his counterparts.
But
Robbo.
sometimes you don't like to have him.
But I feel Robbo is not tricky bastard. He's just annoying bastard.
Robbo can be a proper bastard, absolutely.
But not a tricky bastard.
Not so tricky.
Speaking of Robbo, I thought
we need to talk. Yeah, we need to talk about the Lino gate.
No, we don't.
Because I think he squared up to the. I'm absolutely not. Sweeping the elbow seen across the world under the rug, but he did square up to the ref and kind of like pushed him or
tugged on him.
Did something to him, basically squared up to him, and that evoked the reaction. So it's like it's not that different than some of the other ones, like the Bruno, and it's not as bad as Mitro, but it's like you did touch the ref.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
but it was just a lineman.
Punished, you'd think the other one would.
It was just a lineman. How dare you, Totti?
Hashtag linemen are people too.
No, I actually agree with you, Ryan. I'm of the same mindset.
Yeah, same here.
I think it's been completely overblown.
Had he not swung the elbow, we would probably be talking about a ban for Robbo, but this will not happen because of the elbow.
Yeah, I think he lucked out that he got
elbowed in the face.
yeah. If you're gonna take an elbow to the face, this is the one to do it.
Yeah, do it so you avoid a ban. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I would have loved to pick up Samikas as a result, but fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right. Any other trickiest bastard shouts?
I thought it was like a shifty kind of player, so like the ASMs and the Adamas of the world come up, because I think he was referring to like Gineppo or something.
He did mention Gineppo in the question, or
so
he posted.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
So like shiftiest, right? Like
I thought so.
Successful dribbles kind of guy.
Yeah, like a Suleimana type of guy.
I tell you what, after watching Eze against Leeds, man, whew.
Yeah.
They could
schlupp against Leeds. seven take-ons. My God, that whole midfield was just getting took on.
It was just like hot knife through butter.
All right, well then that's settled then.
Maybe.
Shiftiest bastard, Jeffrey Schlupp.
Or maybe
yes,
maybe hot, but maybe and just a normal knife through hot butter. Would it?
Well, the hot butter.
Do you heat?
Is melted, is it not?
It's easy to
you can't put a knife through any of it.
Easy to put a knife through it.
Well, but then you're just stirring a puddle of
that's
butter.
A spoon type situation.
A spoon through hot butter.
A spoon picking up hot butter.
Actually, that sounds about right for the way Leeds played
that's
that
what
game.
that's exactly what I mean.
The...
It wasn't the hot knife that was hot. It was the butter.
The butter was so hot. Yeah.
They melted off off the field.
Okay. I like it. So keep that in mind for future reference, because that is now a phrase on this podcast: a spoon through hot butter.
Also, there is a theory. I don't know if it got to you guys as well in the US, but I think it that was the origin. So
We're at the height of civilization.
yeah, I
here.
think
I'm sure.
Not
it has.
I
anymore.
think that was the origin place. Maybe it was the noughties, somewhere in mid noughties. There was an Office game, a very, now that we are R-rated, we can say it. A very very risque Office game that involved touching your genitalia
Your colleagues?
onto people, unsuspecting people.
No.
With
No,
onlookers,
This is
not exposing yourself, obviously, but
Right.
through
through
pants.
pants, just like going by the water cooler and sliding behind someone, or just
No, I can honestly say I've never done that to a colleague.
This does not happen. Well, I mean, I'm sure it happens, but it was not a trend as far as I know here.
yeah.
What's it called? That's assault, brother.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
assault,
What's it called? That's it's literally
I've
sexual
I've
assault.
no idea what it's called. But
What are you guys doing over there?
there's a theory that Robbo was just playing that. It was just like an advanced level.
I was wondering how we were going to get this back on track.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just an advanced level,
Successfully landed.
like that got you like 500 points, whereas just touching any other player, that's just just 100. But like,
Well, then I guess he's lucky he got elbowed where he did.
exactly, and he also won today that day's game.
I mean, all right, fair enough.
Jesus.
Wow. All right, let's sign off, boys. This has gone far.
Can we do Ben's Arsenal question real quick?
Christ. Yes,
Fantasy
go ahead.
football.
Ben really went to the well for like 6 questions, but I feel like we need to humor him in this one because it's a good one.
I saw your cursor on this, and I was like, "Can we just skip this?" But no. All right,
The
go
heart
ahead.
wants what the heart wants.
Yep. It sure does.
Okay, this is from another one from Ben.
Maybe a less controversial.
Yeah. Arsenal have a great season, blah, 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 blah. Next season, to maintain momentum, Arsenal will have to improve squad and rotate, yada, yada, yada. Will Arsenal fantasy assets be so attractive next season? I've been thinking about this a bit. The onset of Europe usually has some consequences, and Robbie and I actually delved into that last year when we were talking about a few teams, including Arsenal, going from no Europe to Europa League. But in this case, it will be Champions League, thank God. So I think on the margins it will, for just a few different slots in which there's healthy competition. So there will be folks like your Sakas, your Odegaards that don't have much competition, and I think regardless of Champions League, they're going to be fairly nailed on. However, the left wing spot, now that there's a Trossard and a Martinelli, and there's still talk of getting some more reinforcements on the wings.
ESR maybe still kicking.
Maybe. I think the long term project for him is to get him into the midfield,
The Odegaard spot.
So maybe. Yeah. But until I see that, I think Odegaard's pretty nailed on.
He should be.
Someone I'm looking at for next year, for a very speculative punt, is Fabio Vieira. I think there's a chance that Arteta's cooking something with him.
Is he?
And that he might.
Sorry to interrupt. Is he?
No, go ahead.
There for good or on loan?
No, he's there for good.
Nice.
We bought him over the summer.
And he's not an Odegaard like for like?
No, he's been slotting in on that left side for Xhaka.
Okay.
So I think there's a possibility of him taking more of that role on, and he's more offensive. So he's somebody I'm going to be looking at. But yeah,
he's more offensive, but not more offensive.
Oh God! All right, never mind. I'm done. Let's go to streamers.
That was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, got us to move on. Here we go. All right, guys, sign us off with some streamers, and let's end this damn thing.
Go ahead, Totti.
I'll go deep into the belly of the streaming beast, and we'll go with 2 unfancied people I shouted out in my waivers article. One is aforementioned Musa Genepo, who came on, got an assist for the goal against City, and generally offered something. Yeah, offered trickiness and
tricky bastard,
and something different to the otherwise dire proceedings. And the other one is one Arnaud Danjuma, who people may have forgotten that actually plays for Spurs. And
define play.
Should have. He came on for 11 minutes last weekend. And
you think that warrants him slotting in for one of Son or Kulusevski?
Yes, I do think so. Stellini came in after the game and said that he had his time in the cold, and now he's back, and he's going to get minutes rest of the season.
I think he will, but I don't think that
maybe it's not this quick. Yeah, that's fair. But I think he's someone who will come in and offer something.
Nice.
So yeah, those are my streamers.
Okay, Ryan.
I'm gonna go even deeper into the Jan Bednarek bag of tricks. Back on the big Jan train.
You mean Jan?
Of course, they're going
Bednarek?
Jan Bednarek.
Janny.
Oh yeah.
Of course, they're going against the 73 Brazil team, aka Crystal Palace. However, Bednarek gets a lot of ghosts, and I think Palace might slow down a little bit. So if you're in a pinch for a defender, he's not a bad shout. I've talked about Anderson ad nauseum. Some other folks have talked about Sade. I liked him too.
Yeah.
So he's going to get 7 to 9 ghosts probably.
Solid
unless he gets
matchup.
supplanted by fucking Damsgaard again. So he's definitely worth a punt. And
would you start Damsgaard?
No.
What a
I'm so
waste.
done with that dude.
Every word
God.
we spent on Damsgaard has been.
I know.
And the Renaissance for the freaking DGW. God, yeah, that was such a waste of time.
Every word, every word since the beginning of time. That
Including these ones, though.
Yes, I think we should just we gotta move on from him.
Go ahead.
The last one is really really deep cut. Cedric the Entertainer, to quote our dear friend WJB, Cedric Suarez or Kenny Tete, whoever takes up that right back slot for Fulham. Decent matchup. Both of them ghost decently. Not a bad defensive streamer shot.
Yeah.
That's it.
One of those that was said here will be available in your league. I guarantee it. So check it out. All right, boys. Let's put a bow on this marathon here. It's been a good one, though. Lots of joking, but hopefully lots of also good fantasy advice. That's why we're here. We do. But also, more importantly, listeners, let us know about that cricket terminology. We're really pretty serious about this now, and we want to know more common terms that we can use that have evolved from cricket that are niche. So get at us with those. But more importantly, win your game week. Let us know if you have questions. Hit us up on Twitter. Add us. We'll try to get some eyes on it. Again, it's the tail end of the season. Like Totti says, be ruthless. Drop the guys that aren't going to play. Get in players that will. We love you, community. If you made it this far, my God, you're the best. Cheers to everybody. Been the KPC. Talk to you soon.